I'm Christina and welcome to my channel, Chriskayoga. Today, I will be giving you a full 1-hour yoga class for flexibility. It is in the level of intermediate, but if you are an advanced or strong beginner, you can give it a try as well. There are some quite challenging poses and deep stretches in this class, so work with caution as usual. I filmed this class several years ago and I have an abbreviated version of this class already up on this channel, but today I decided to give you the full 1-hour class. You will need a yoga block, a yoga blanket, and a yoga strap. Substitutions are listed in the description box below. So if you're ready, grab your mat and let's get started. Begin in a modified child's pose with your toes touching, your knees slightly wider apart, and relax your torso over your thighs with your arms stretched out in front of you. Begin to deepen your breath. You can close your eyes and start to focus all of your attention on your breathing. Inhaling and exhaling through your nose, come inward. Take note of where you feel your breath the most in your body today. Is it in your chest, in your ribs, in your back? Just make a note of it and continue to focus on your breathing. Taking a few more deep and full breaths here, sinking those hips down towards your heels, stretching out that back. Take one more deep breath, and then slowly lift your head, lifting your body, coming to sitting on the floor with your shins crossed in front of you, also known as Sukhasana. Sitting up nice and tall, not on your tailbone. Place your hands on your knees. Drop your chin to your chest and begin to roll your head around, circling your neck to the right. If it helps you, picture that you are drawing circles in the air with your nose, continuously moving as you circle your neck around. Be gentle with your neck muscles. Don't move anything too quickly, too harshly. Go nice and slow here. Just a few more circles here. Moving slow, continuous movement. And now getting ready to come into rolling your neck out to the other direction. Moving to the left. Moving to the left now. Slow and continuous movement once again. Still drawing circles in the air with your nose. Just a few more now. Nice and slow, keep going. Coming into your final neck rolls. And now drop your chin to your chest. Allow the weight of your head to take your neck over. And then slowly bring your head back upright. Coming to roll out your shoulders now. Lift your shoulders up and roll them back. Getting into the front of your shoulder muscles. Once again in continuous flowing movement. Nice and gentle. Really working through the muscles in the front of your shoulders and your chest. Breathe as you roll up and around with both shoulders. And now come to rolling your shoulders forward, so in the opposite direction, rolling them up and bringing them forward. Now you're focusing mainly on the muscles in your shoulder blades, really working through, breathing as you roll. Coming into one final shoulder roll now. And then shrug your shoulders up by your ears and release it out, dropping everything down. One more time, shrug your shoulders up by your ears and then drop everything down and release. One more time, shrug those shoulders up, building up tension, and then release it out completely. Come into one final shrug and then release it out. Taking your right arm now, cross it over your body. Hook in that arm with your left arm, hugging it in towards your body, stretching the outer edge of your right shoulder. Take one more deep breath here. Hug that in. And then release your arm, bringing it back behind your head, bend your elbow, and then grab that elbow with your left hand and gently pull it over towards the left. You are mainly stretching your tricep here, which is the muscle behind your arm. Release your hand from your elbow now and come to crossing your left arm over your body, hooking it in with your right arm. Stretching the outer edge of your shoulder on the left side. With each exhale, gently hug that arm in a little bit closer towards your body. Stretch here for another deep breath, and then release that arm, bringing it back around behind your head and grabbing your left elbow with your right hand, gently pulling it over to the right, stretching the back of your left arm. Take one more deep breath here, and then release your elbow from your hand, switching the cross of your legs, staying in Sukhasana. Coming back to sitting up tall, raise your arms up above your head. Coming into a twist. Bring your right hand to your left knee, your left arm behind you, and twist around to the left. With each inhale, sit up tall, and with each exhale, twist around. Coming back to the center now, raise your arms up towards the sky, and then twisting to the other side, bringing your left hand to your right knee, your right arm behind you. Once again, sit up tall with your inhales, and on your exhales, twist deeper. Coming back to the center now, raise your arms up towards the sky. Inhale, and exhale, release back into another twist. Breathing as you twist around. On your next inhale, come back to the center and raise your arms up. And on your next exhale, twist around to the opposite side once again, really getting into that back. Breathe and twist. Coming back to the center now. Coming onto your hands and knees, bring your knees directly underneath your hips and your hands directly underneath your shoulders. Fingertips are spread wide on the floor. Coming into some cat and cow postures. Take an inhale and tuck your toes, arching your back, looking up and forward. Spread your shoulders wide. Take an exhale and curve your spine in the opposite way, looking back towards those thighs, reaching that mid-back upward. Continue with your own breath in your own time now, arching on your inhales and curving on your exhales. Really working through your spine, trying to move each and every bone in your spine independently as you work in and out of that arch. Also paying attention to your hands as they spread wide on the floor. All fingers are even on the ground. Working through your feet as well. Try and really stretch the bottoms of your feet as you tuck your toes. And place the top of your feet on the floor when you untuck them. Continuing to move in and out of arching and curving, starting to build some warmth in your midsection. Warming up your spine to start out. Just a few more rounds now. Arching and curving, breathing deeply as you move in and out. Take one final exhale now, reaching that mid-back up towards the sky, and then come back to a neutral spine. Tuck your toes, press into the floor with both hands, and then straighten your legs into a downward facing dog. Alternate bending and straightening your legs now, pedaling through and gently working through the muscles in the backs of your legs. Each time you straighten that leg, slowly send that heel down towards the floor, working through your hamstring and your calf. Come to a few more breaths as you work through those legs, moving nice and slow, continuous movement. And take one more deep breath here. And then come to settle into stillness in your downward facing dog. Raise your right leg up behind you. And then turn out your leg from your hip, bending your right knee. Allow the weight of your foot to take your leg over, stretching the front of your hip. Breathe and stretch. Come back to the center now, And step your foot forward in between your hands, coming into a low lunge, dropping the left knee on the floor. Walk your right foot out to the edge of your mat and drop down onto your forearms. If this is too much for you at this time, just stay up on your hands. Breathe as you get into those hips, stretching the front of your left hip, getting into the hip socket on the right side. Take one more deep breath here. Then come back onto your hands, walk your foot back to the center of your body, press into the floor with both hands, tuck your back toe, and then step up into another downward facing dog. Breathe here for a moment. And then take your left leg and raise it up behind you, turning that leg out from your hip, bend your left knee. Allow the weight of your foot and leg to take your hip over, stretching the front of that left hip. Take a deep breath, and then slowly bring that hip back to center. And step your left foot forward in between your hands, coming into low lunge on the left side. Walk your foot out to the edge of your mat, untuck your back toe, bringing your knee to the floor, and then bring your forearms to the ground. If this is too much for you, once again, you can always come back onto your hands and just breathe here as you stretch those hips once again on the left side, really getting into those hip sockets, your hip flexors, and that area. Take one more deep breath here, breathing through any discomfort you might be feeling. And then come back onto your hands. Walk your foot back to the center of your body, tuck your back toe, press into the floor with both hands, and straighten your legs into another downward facing dog. Take a deep breath here. And now come to raising your heels all the way up and bend your knees. Look forward and walk your feet up to the front of your mat, coming into a forward fold. Take an inhale and come up to standing now with a straight back, bringing your arms out and up, and then release your hands down by your sides. Inhale and rotate your arms out and up. Exhale, fold your torso over your legs into a forward fold. Inhale, look up halfway, straightening your back, and exhale, come back down. Coming up to standing on your inhale, raise your arms out and up, and then release your hands down by your sides. Clasp your hands together at the small of your back and straighten your arms, looking up, coming into an arch. Open those shoulders. Release your hands from the clasp and bring them down by your sides. Inhale and rotate your arms out and up. Exhale, fold your torso now over your legs, forward fold. Inhale, looking up halfway, straightening your back, and exhale, come back down. Come up to standing now with a straight spine, bringing your arms out and up, and then release them down by your sides. Take an inhale and rotate your arms out and raise them up towards the sky. Exhale, fold your torso over your legs into a forward fold. Inhale, look up halfway, straightening that back, and then exhale, fold back down. Coming up to standing with a straight back, bring your arms out and up, and then releasing them down by your sides. Inhale and rotate your arms out and raise them up. Exhale, fold your torso down over your legs into another forward fold. You can grab onto your calves now and gently pull in your upper body, stretching those hamstrings a little bit further. Be gentle with yourself. And take an exhale now and release your hands down onto the floor. On an inhale, looking up halfway, straightening your back, and exhale, fold back down, plant your hands into the floor, and step back into a plank pose. Lower your body in one straight line and come onto your belly, forehead to the floor, untuck your toes. Slide your hands right next to your ribs, and on your inhale, come back into a full cobra arch, lifting your torso off the ground. Try not to lock into your elbows here. Just arching that back, you can look up and really get into your back as you arch. Coming back up, and then slowly bring your whole torso down onto the floor. Head is the last thing to reach the ground. Tuck your toes and come right up into a downward facing dog. Settle here into stillness in your down dog. Breathe and stretch the backs of your legs, sending those hips up and back. Feel your shoulder blades on your back coming in towards each other and in towards your ribs. And take an inhale now and raise your heels, bend your knees, look forward, and step your feet up to your hands, coming into a forward fold. You can now bring your hands to your calves right behind your ankles and gently pull in your torso towards your legs, stretching those muscles there. You can release your hands down onto the floor. Take an inhale and look up halfway, and on your exhale, fold back down into a forward fold. Come up to standing now with a straight back. Bring your arms out and up, and then release your hands down by your sides on an exhale. Take an inhale and rotate your arms all the way out and raise them up. Take an exhale now and fold your torso down over your legs, coming into a forward fold. You can come now to bring your hands to your ankles and pull your torso in towards your legs a little bit. Breathe and stretch. Take one more deep breath here and then bring your hands down onto the floor. Take another inhale and look up halfway, straightening your back, and exhale, fold back down, bend your knees, and step back into a plank pose. Lower your body in one straight line onto the floor, come to your forehead on the ground, and slide your hands so they're right next to your ribs, elbows pointed up. Press into the floor with your hands, lifting your torso into a full cobra. Breathe and settle your hip bones down towards the ground. Relax your shoulder muscles away from your ears. You can come into looking up with your head to really get into your back. Just don't crunch your neck. And then slowly place your torso back down onto the floor. Your head is the last thing to reach the ground. Tuck your toes, come through your hands and knees if you'd like, and then straighten your legs into another downward facing dog. Breathe and settle here. Feel your hips coming up and back, creating that upside down V shape with your body. Take a few more deep breaths here. Feel your shoulder blades on your back. Your heels are slowly coming down towards the ground. And then take a deep inhale and raise your heels all the way up. Bend your knees, look forward between your hands, and walk your feet up into a forward fold. If you'd like to grab your ankles now and gently pull your torso in towards your shins, then do so now, being careful with your body. Slowly release your hands down onto the floor and inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, fold back down into a forward fold. Take an inhale and come up to standing with a straight back, bringing your arms out and up, and then release your hands down by your sides. Take an inhale and rotate your arms out and raise them up. Exhale, fold once again into a forward bend. If you'd like to stretch those hamstrings once again by grabbing those ankles, pull yourself in nice and slow, very gently. Bring your hands down onto the floor, take an inhale and look up halfway. Exhale, fold back down and step back into another plank pose. Bring your body in one straight line. Keeping your body in this line, lower yourself onto the floor, coming to your belly. Untuck your toes and bring your forehead to the ground. Slide your hands down so they're right next to your ribs and come up into a full cobra. Breathe and arch your back. Hips are going down towards the ground, energy through the crown of your head going upward, looking up and back, reaching your head back if you'd like. And slowly bring your torso back down onto the floor. Forehead is the last thing to reach the ground. Tuck your toes. You can come through your hands and knees position and then straighten your legs into a downward facing dog. Remain here for a moment and come back to your breathing. Feel your body in the shape. On your next inhale, raise your right leg up behind you and then step it forward in between your hands, coming into a low lunge. Drop your back knee down and walk your right foot out to the edge of your mat, untucking your left toe. Come onto your forearms if that's comfortable for you. Breathe once again here and stretch the front of your left hip. Get into your hip socket. Looking down towards your arms. Take one more deep and full breath here. Then come back onto your hands. You can walk your feet back to the center of your body, tuck your back toe, and then step back into another downward facing dog. On your next inhale, raise your left leg up behind you and then step it forward in between your hands, coming into lunge on the left side. Walk your foot out to the edge of your mat, come to your knee on your back leg, untuck your toe, and then bring your forearms down onto the floor if this is comfortable for you. Breathe into your hips. Feel them opening, stretching. Feel the muscle fibers releasing out. Take one more deep breath here. And then come back onto your hands. Walk your foot back to the center of your body. Come back onto the toe on your right foot and step back into another downward facing dog. Breathe and stretch here. Take an inhale and raise your heels all the way up. Bend your knees. Look forward and step your feet up to your hands, coming into a forward bend. If you'd like to stretch a bit deeper, grab those ankles and pull your torso in towards your legs. Breathe and stretch gently. Bring your hands down onto the floor now. Take an inhale and look up halfway. Exhale, fold your torso back down. Come up to standing. Bring your arms out and up. And then release your hands down by your sides. On your next inhale, rotate your arms out and raise them up towards the sky, reaching up. Take an exhale and fold your torso into a forward bend. If you'd like to stretch a bit deeper, grab those ankles and gently pull your torso in once again towards your legs. And then slowly release your hands back down onto the floor. Take an inhale and look up halfway, straightening your back, and exhale, fold down. Stepping back into another plank pose, bring your body into one straight line onto your belly on the floor. Untuck your toes, slide your hands right next to your ribs, coming up into another full cobra arch. Arching your back, not locking in your elbows. If you'd like to look up and back with your head, and then coming back down onto the ground with your torso. Your forehead is the last thing to reach the floor. Tuck your back toes, push into the floor with your hands, and come right up into a downward facing dog. Breathe and settle here for a moment. On your next inhale, raise your right leg up behind you and then step it forward in between your hands, walking that foot out to the edge of your mat. Drop your back knee down onto the floor and untuck your toe. Drop down onto your forearms if this is available to your body at this time, and breathe as you sink those hips down towards the floor. With each exhale, try and stretch a bit deeper. Take one more deep breath here. Come back onto your hands, and bringing your right arm behind you, bend your left leg and grab onto your left foot. Breathe as you deeply stretch your quadricep muscle, still sinking those hips down. And release your hand from your foot now. And just come to a twist by walking your foot in towards the center line of your body and opening your shoulders to the right. Breathe as you twist into your back, still sinking your hips down into the stretch. Take one more deep breath, one more reach, and then drop your hand down onto the floor. Tuck your back toe, press into the floor with your hands, and step back into a downward facing dog. Come to a few deep breaths here, feeling your body in the shape. On your next inhale, raise your left leg up behind you and then bring it forward into your lunge, walking your left foot out to the edge of your mat, untucking your right toe, dropping that knee and coming down onto your forearms. Breathe and stretch in this low lunge here, sinking those hips down slowly with each exhale, getting into those hip sockets even deeper. Come now back onto your hands. Bring your left arm behind you and bend your right knee, stretching a bit deeper in your quadricep muscle. Still sinking those hips down, just stretching deeper. Take one more deep breath here, and then release your hand from your foot. Dropping that foot back down onto the floor, walk your left foot in towards the center line of your body and twist your shoulders open to the left, reaching that arm up. Take one more deep and full breath, one more reach upward. And then set your hand back down onto the floor, tuck your right toe, press into the floor with both hands, and step back into a down dog. On your next inhale, raise your heels all the way up and bend your knees. Look forward and walk your feet into a forward fold, relaxing your torso over your legs. You can grab onto your ankles and gently pull your torso in towards your legs, just getting deeper into those hamstrings and low back. You can come to release your hands back down on the floor. Take an inhale and look up, and exhale, fold back down. Come up to standing now on your next inhale, raising your arms all the way up, and then release your hands down by your sides. Take an inhale, rotate your arms out and raise them up. On your exhale, fold back down into a forward bend. Bend your knees and plant your hands onto the floor. Step right back into a downward facing dog. Stay here for a moment and take a deep breath. On your next inhale, take your right leg and step it forward in between your hands, coming into a lunge. Straighten your right leg now, keeping your feet where they are. Keep your torso looking down towards your leg, and then come to flex your right foot, stretching the back of your right leg, staying up on the ball of your left foot, getting deep into that calf as well by flexing your foot. Hold here for one more breath. And then come right back into your lunge by bending your right knee and settling down here. Breathe and sink those hips down. And get ready to come into that stretch one more time. So straightening your right leg, staying up high on the ball of that left foot, flexing your right foot. Breathe as you stretch your hamstring and your calf on the right side. Keep your torso down, looking backwards. Take one more deep breath here, and then bend your right knee, coming back into your lunge. Sink those hips down. Press into the floor with both hands and step back into your downward facing dog. Breathe and settle here for a moment. On your next inhale, take your left leg and step it forward in between your hands, coming through your lunge, and then come to straightening your left leg and flex that foot. Staying up high on the ball of your right foot behind you, looking down towards your left shin. Keep that leg straight, stretching the back of your left leg. Take one more breath here, and then bend your left knee, coming back through your lunge, sinking those hips down, keeping your left knee above your left ankle. Getting ready to come into that stretch one more time, straightening your left leg, flexing your left foot. Stay up high on the ball of your right foot, keeping your feet where they are, just stretching the back of your leg, your hamstring, your calf. Breathe and relax your torso over. And now come to bend your left knee and sink those hips down back through your lunge. Press into the floor now with both of your hands and step back into a downward facing dog. Come now to getting a thick yoga blanket and a yoga block if you have it. If not, a towel and a book should work as well, as long as they're nice and thick. So once you have your props, come into a downward facing dog, placing your blanket or towel underneath you folded and your block off to the side. Take your right foot and step it forward, coming into a lunge one more time. Drop your left knee onto your folded towel or blanket, and then come to straightening your right leg and flexing that foot, coming into another calf stretch, relaxing your torso down over your shin, looking downward, staying up on the ball of that back foot on your knee, flexing your right foot. Take one more deep breath here, And then come back to bending your right knee. Take your yoga block and place it right underneath your hips, coming into a split on the right side. Straighten your right leg, sliding your hips down and resting them onto the yoga block. Bring your torso upright, and you can stay on your hands on the floor. Breathe and stretch here. Breathe through the discomfort. And now come to lift yourself off of the yoga block, coming onto your right hip. Remove the block and set it to the side. Swing your legs around. Plant your hands onto the floor and step right back into a downward facing dog. As you're in your down dog, make a note of any difference you might be feeling in your legs now that you've stretched one. And on your next inhale, step your left leg forward, coming into that lunge on the left side. Drop your right knee behind you, and then come to straighten your left leg and flex your left foot. Look down towards that shin. Breathe and stretch the back of your left leg, your hamstring, and your calf. Take a few more deep breaths here. And now bend your left knee back into your lunge. Grab that yoga block and set it right underneath your hips. And then once it's there, straighten your left leg, walking it a bit forward. Getting into that split on the left side. Set your hips down onto the block. And remain here. If you need to keep those knees slightly bent, then that's fine. Coming up with your torso, bring your hands down to the floor, keeping that torso upright as much as you can. Continue to breathe here. Stretching your hamstring on the left and your hip flexor on the right, that hip socket, the front of your leg. And now come to removing that yoga block, setting it to the side. Swing those legs around. Set those hands down onto the floor and step back into your down dog. You can remove your blanket or your towel, set it to the side, come back into your down dog. And take an inhale, drop your knees to the floor, touch your toes together behind you, separate your knees about the width of your mat, and then drop your torso over your thighs, stretching your arms in front of you. Bring your forehead to the floor. Breathe and sink those hips down towards your heels, relaxing your back completely over those legs. Come back to your breath. You can close your eyes if you'd like. Take a deep inhale through your nose and release it out in the same way. Take one more breath here. Coming up onto your knees, come back onto your hands. Bring your legs back to parallel, hips distance. Tuck your toes and then walk your hands about 6 inches forward, dropping your forehead to the floor. Breathe, feel that back slightly arching. Get into your hips, stretching the bottoms of your feet as well. One more deep breath here. And then come back onto your hands, lifting your head off the ground. Bring your hands under your shoulders and straighten your legs into a downward facing dog. Come back to your down dog. Breathe here. On your next inhale, take your right leg and raise it up behind you. Turn that leg out from your hip and bend your knee. Allow the weight of your foot and your leg to stretch your hip. Bring it over, keeping your hands on the ground. Breathe here. And come to set that foot down on the floor behind you, lifting your right arm up, coming into an arch. Reaching that top arm up and over, keeping that left leg straight. And now come back to your three-legged down dog, raising your right leg up, And then step that foot forward in between your hands. Walk your foot over to the left, coming into Pigeon Pose. Drop your knee down onto the floor, straightening your back leg. Bring your torso over your leg now, your right leg, dropping either down onto your forearms, or you can come to bringing your forehead down onto the floor by walking your hands a bit forward. If you need to, bring a blanket or a towel underneath your hips here, then you can do that as well. This is a very deep stretch for the outer edge of your right hip. So if you need to come back onto your forearms, if it's too much, then don't be afraid to do so. Breathe and stretch. One more deep breath here. And then nice and slow, take your arms back up, coming back onto your hands. Press into the floor with both of your hands and gently straighten your leg, coming back into a downward facing dog. As you're in your down dog, notice any difference you might be feeling in both sides of your body. Take one more deep breath here. And on your next inhale, raise your left leg up behind you and turn that leg out from your hip, bending your left knee, and allow the weight of your foot and your leg to take your hip over, stretching the front of your left leg and your hip there. Take a few more deep breaths here, keeping your hands on the ground. Take your left leg and set it down on the floor behind you, lifting your left arm, reaching it up and over on the diagonal, coming into an arch. Keep that right leg straight and reach that left arm up and over. Try not to lock into your right elbow on the floor. And now come back through your downward facing dog and step your left leg forward, starting out into a lunge, but then walk your left foot over to the right, dropping your knee down onto the floor, bringing your shin to as parallel to the front of your mat as you can. Drop your hips down towards the floor, coming into Pigeon Pose. If you need to set your hips down onto a towel or a blanket, then that's fine. Drop down onto your forearms, or you can reach your arms a little bit forward so you can set your forehead down onto the ground. And just breathe as you relax your torso forward over that front leg. Pigeon Pose can be a very intense stretch for your hips and your legs. So if you need to come out of it, then go right ahead. Come into a child's pose, whatever you need to do. Take one more deep breath. Coming back onto your hands. Press into the floor with your hands, tuck your back toe, and come back into a downward facing dog. Feel the difference in your legs. You might be feeling a bit more open now in your hips. Now you can bend your knees and come out of your downward facing dog. Come into a seated position and bring your legs out to stretch in front of you. Flex your feet. Sit up tall on the two bones at the bottom of your pelvis. If you need to sit on top of a blanket or a towel, you can here. Take an inhale, and on your exhale, relax your torso over your legs. You can grab onto your shins, your ankles, or your feet, and rest here as you stretch the backs of your legs and your lower back. Take one more deep breath here. And then come to bending your right leg and bring the bottom of your right foot to your inner thigh. Bring your knee down to the ground and sit up tall on your inhale. Exhale, fold over your left leg, and once again grab onto your shin, your ankle, or your foot, wherever you reach today. Stretching the back of your left leg and your lower back as well. Take a few more deep breaths in this stretch. Coming back to an upright position with your torso. Take your left leg and bring it out to the side, keeping your foot flexed and your knee and toes pointed up towards the sky. Take your right arm and reach up and over on the diagonal, coming to stretch to the side. Take another deep breath here, and then turn your torso and face your left leg. Bring your hands down onto the floor, looking down towards that knee. Keep flexing your left foot. And you can come back upright with your torso and stretch your right leg out to the side. Point both knees and your toes up towards the sky. Take an exhale and fold your torso down over your legs, coming into a forward fold. Stretch the inner thighs and the backs of your legs. Breathe as you stretch. Try not to overly curve your spine here. Bring it to as straight as you can. Keeping those knees pointed up. Take a few more deep breaths here. Take one more deep breath and bring your torso back upright. Bend your left leg now in towards your hips. And now reach up and over to the right, bringing your right arm to your right leg. Reaching your top arm up on the diagonal. Stretching the side of your body. Keeping both hips even on the floor as you stretch up and over. Take one more deep and full breath here. And then turn to face your right leg now, bringing both hands to the floor. Still keeping both hips even on the ground, just stretching your upper body to the side. Breathe into the left side of your upper body. Looking down. Take one more deep and full breath here, breathing in through your nose and release it out. And then bring your torso back upright. Keeping your right foot flexed, just bring your right leg stretching out in front of you. Sit up tall on those two bones at the bottom of your pelvis. Take an exhale and fold your torso over your leg that's straight, grabbing onto your shin, your ankle, or your foot. Send your breath to the back of your right leg. Try not to overly curve your spine here as you look down. Taking a few more deep breaths here, breathe through the discomfort. And on your next inhale, bring your torso back upright and bring your feet to meet each other in the center line of your body into Baddha Konasana or bound ankle pose. Sit up tall on your inhale and on your exhale, fold your torso down, looking towards your feet. If you would like to bring your elbows to your knees here to allow them to come down a little bit as you stretch, then do so now, and if that's uncomfortable for you, just stay in your forward fold. Breathe and get into those hips, stretching your inner thighs, the backs of your legs. Try not to overly curve your spine. Find length through your back on each inhale. And on each exhale, try and fold over your hips a little bit deeper. Take one more deep breath here and slowly bring your torso back up. Come now to lying on your back. Bend your knees and walk your heels in about 2 to 3 inches towards your hips. Coming into a bridge pose. Palms are flat on the floor. Lift your hips up and then roll onto the outer edges of your arms underneath you and clasp your hands together. Keep your feet parallel to one another. Keep those hips reaching up, coming into an arch. Come to a few more deep breaths here. Reaching those hips up, arching that back. And come to release your hands from the clasp. rolling out from underneath your arms, set your hips down onto the floor. Grab onto your shins and hug your knees in towards your chest. If you'd like to rock from side to side, gently massaging your back on the floor, then you can do so now. If not, just stay still and hug those knees inward. Set your feet onto the floor now. We'll come into Urdhva Dhanurasana, or upward facing bow pose. Set your hands down right next to your ears on the floor, fingertips pointed towards your shoulders. Press into the floor with your hands and your feet and lift those hips up, bringing your back into a deep arch. If this is not possible for you, come into a bridge pose again. If you're in wheel pose, keep your feet parallel. Try and walk your hands right underneath your shoulders. Take one more deep breath here. And then gently come down onto the back of your head, setting your shoulders down on the ground. Hug your knees in towards your chest once again. If you'd like to rock from side to side, you can do so here. If that's uncomfortable, just stay still. Set your feet back down onto the floor. Bring your hands to the ground next to your ears. Getting ready to come up into upward facing bow one more time. Lift those hips up, coming into your arch. Keeping those feet parallel. Hands are right under those shoulders, if you can. Reaching those hips up. And slowly setting yourself back down onto the floor, the back of your head and your shoulders. And come to hugging your knees in towards your chest once again, gently rocking from side to side if that's comfortable for you. Come to holding your right leg in your hand. Set your left leg down onto the floor. Hug that knee in towards your chest. And now you can grab a strap, or if you don't have a strap, use a scarf or a tie, whatever you have handy. Hook the bottom of your foot with your strap, and then reach your heel up towards the sky. If you can grab onto your leg, then you can do that as well. Breathe and stretch the back of your leg here, your calf, your hamstring, keeping your hips on the ground and your lower back. You can gently pull your leg in closer to your body with each exhale that you take. Take a few more deep and full breaths here. And then release the strap from your foot and hug that knee in towards your chest for another deep breath. Take your right knee now and cross it over to the left side of your body, keeping your right shoulder on the floor, looking over to the right, and breathe into this twist. Take one more breath here. And then come back to the center with your right leg and set it down onto the floor. Switching sides. Grab your left shin in your hands and hug that knee in towards your chest. Breathing into your hip socket and the back of your left leg. Keep your feet flexed. Grab onto your strap now and hook it onto your left foot. And reach your left heel up towards the sky, straightening your left leg. Breathe into this stretch, stretching the back of your left leg, keeping both feet flexed. Gently pulling that leg in towards your upper body on each exhale. Take a few more deep and full breaths here. One more, pull inward. And then you can release the strap from your foot. Setting the strap to the side, hug your knee in towards your chest once again. Take an inhale and cross your left knee over to the right side of your body. And then reach your left arm out, keeping your left shoulder down on the ground, looking over to the left. Breathe as your body twists around. Taking one more deep breath in this twist. Release from that twist now by bringing your leg back to the center. Hug it in towards your chest for a moment and then set it down on the floor right next to the right one. Straightening both legs, separate them slightly apart. Turn your palms up towards the sky. Close your eyes and come to deepen your breath. Inhaling and exhaling through your nose, coming inward. Focusing all of your attention on your breathing now. You can count your breath. You can focus on the pathway of your breath as it moves in and out through you. Or you can focus on the rise and fall of your belly as you breathe. Whatever you've chosen to do, stay here with this breath pattern. If another thought comes into your mind as you're focusing on your breath, just set it aside and come right back to focusing on the breathing. And as you remain here, allow each and every exhale to relax you deeper and deeper into the floor. Come to bring slight motion back into your body now by gently moving your hands, your feet, your arms and legs, your fingers and your toes, whatever you need to come back to your body. Whenever you're ready, roll onto the right side and rest there with your knees bent and your arm underneath your head for support. Breathing here. Use your hands to help you and come up to a seated position, crossing your shins in front of you. Bring your hands to your knees, sitting up tall, and close your eyes now. Take a moment and say thank you to yourself for doing what you need to be healthy, to make your body more flexible and strong. And breathe into the gratitude. Feel it for yourself. Take one more deep breath here. Bring your hands to meet at the center of your chest and bow your head to your fingertips. Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the class. Please subscribe for new free yoga videos every single week. Also, check out my website, chriskayoga.com, for more yoga from me. Also, you can follow me at chriskayoga on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you so much. See you next time.